Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. It's on air.
Hello? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, welcome. Good evening, members. Today we have 36 session of Gyan Ganga series, webinar series. We are just waiting. Few attendees are still joining. Members, please do write us about this platform. We have received so many feedbacks about this platform. They are saying the platform is very good compared to previous platform. Yes. So member, today we have 36 session of webinar series of Gyan Ganga. We welcome from on behalf of training team training and education of ISLA. Today we have our faculty members, Mr. Milind Harsulkar sir. He is a surveyor also. He is retired from New India Assurance Company, and since last 5 years he is an insurance surveyor. He is mainly into the engineering and fire since last 17 years. He was also member of TSE subcommittee for MI tariff in 1988 and 89. So I will request Milind sir to start today's webinar. Today's our subject is risk inspection project policies. Welcome to Milind sir.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So this topic was specially taken as the additional work which surveyor can do. First part is this project policies risk inspection. There will be two parts. This is the first part, and let us start with the session. So this is a project policies risk inspection. So I'll be talking on what is project, what kind of different policies are there in project phase, what are the different risks involved, and inspection. So what is project? We have to first understand what is a project. So normally what we understand by project as far as engineering insurance is concerned is whatever is under construction or erection. So it can be a civil work, it can be a machinery erection, it can be a combined civil and machinery erection, or it can be only a structural work like say transmission towers or mobile phone towers and all these things. So in civil construction, you have different types of civil construction, residential buildings, commercial buildings, or airports, or infrastructure projects like harbors, railway lines, and airports, and all such things. In machinery, it can be as individual machinery like DG set or compressor or boiler, or it can be a section of the main plant like coal handling plant, then ash handling plant, or like that, water treatment plant, or entire project. Everything of the project, large project like power plants, chemical plant, fertilizer plant. And structural work, I told you, it can be transmission line towers or mobile phone towers or windmills. So this is what we understand in project. Now let us first understand how the project is realized and who are the parties involved, what are the stages, relevant activities at each stage, when do insurance officers enter into the picture, and various insurance policies. So as far as surveyors are concerned, we are concerned only of the insurance after insurance policies is issued. But if we understand this process, we will understand some of the issues we face when we go through go for survey and the policies has some what we can call it as a lacunas or like that. If you understand these stages, then you will understand why those things have come into picture in the policies. I will not go into much detail on this thing. First is objective, which is decided. Then once that organization decides some objective, and they do feasibility study. In that, they will see how much market can be there, what are the other things, financial requirements, social, and all those things. After that feasibility study, if they decide to go for the particular project, go for erection or construction of civil facility, at this stage, after the feasibility stage, the insurance agent or risk management consultant should come and advise them on proper insurance coverages during the project stage. Because in the tender, there is an insurance clause. Now that insurance clause, if it is advice is given at this stage, it can be properly there, and insurance there will be no gaps. So once tender is prepared, next will be successful bid and work contract award. After that, the issuance of either maritime erection policy or erection all risk policy and marine policy separately, and other relevant policies for the project. And the project actually now here our scope comes. Survey, you can get a survey at any of this stage. So generally, the first phase is site preparation, and simultaneously some material may be coming. So pre-erection or pre-construction storage of that material at the site. Then normally the civil work will start first, because the plant and machinery which is to be installed in the buildings, it can be installed only when civil construction is ready. So then civil construction is ready, maybe partly or like that, then simultaneously there may be mechanical erection and testing of plant and machinery. So in this testing, what we understand as a testing period is not the testing, it is the cold testing. And then once the machinery is erected, testing under load conditions will be done. That is what we understand as a testing period in project policies. And then once that testing under load condition is done to the satisfaction of the principal, there is a provisional handover. Provisional handing over of the project. So at this stage, the erection policy, basic erection policy or CR policy is over. In CR policy, there may not be testing involved if there are no plant and machinery. So after that, the maintenance period comes, which is the as per the defects liability period in the contracts, their contract, principal and contractor, that whatever contract is there in that, there is a defect liability period. So according to that, this maintenance period is taken. Presently, there is a limit for that 24 months, but earlier there used to be more. Even 5 years or 7 years maintenance periods had been given earlier. Once the maintenance period is over, then it is called definite takeover. The erection policy expires at the time of provisional takeover except maintenance cover. So insured is supposed to go for the operational phase policies when this provisional takeover is there. Now here I have shown site inspections during the construction erection phase. Now this is earlier it used to be done. Now may not be done in so many projects, but that was the earlier thing. It was very much there. We used to do these inspections. Now these policies you are all aware, just I have repeated. Erection all risk policy, contractors all risk policy, mega policy, advance loss of profit policy. These are the project related policies. In that mega insurance is the insurance which as per IRDA, they have categorized the risk into different categories. So a mega policy can be taken by any insured if his sum insured at one location exceeds 2,500 crore. The terms conditions are not as per our TSE wording, that is as per the insurer's requirement. So it is a tailor-made policy. Whatever insurer wants, that those things are referred to international market, and reinsurance from the reinsurers, quotes are obtained. So that based on that quotes and terms condition, the policy is issued. Then advance loss of profit policy is a policy for The word advance itself says that you are not earning profit, but profit, if you had earned the profit, if the project completed timely, and because of losses during erection or maybe marine, the project is delayed. So the delayed period, the insured may have earned some profit as per its projections. So that profit can be covered in this policy, advance loss of profit policy. Now, is it necessary for project policy to have a risk inspection? Some of you may have done the pre-acceptance inspection, but there are other occasions also where the risk inspection is done, and maybe from insurance company or maybe from insured. So what are those? So first is called pre-acceptance insurance. Before the acceptance of a project, inspection is done. So normally these such occasions are very rare because most of the project the timely insurance is taken, but there are occasions where project policy is taken late. Then insurance company will say, since you have started the project, we would like to know whatever work you have completed, whether there are any damages and all these things. And in Maharashtra particularly, the contractors for civil works, they delay the taking of insurance till their first running bill is not paid, because their contract says they have to take insurance. So they will come that time. Its first running bill is pending. They will come, I want urgent policy and all that. That time insurance company says that we want to get this risk inspected. Then this mid-term inspection which I showed in the chart, those are also required. And risk improvements. Some times the insurance company, if there are a lot of losses in particular project, the insurance company may say that this risk being inspected and risk improvement measures can be suggested. And after a loss as a surveyor, we all are going, that inspection is for the assessment point of view. Insurance company officials also do inspection after loss. So after loss, one is surveyor going and insurance company officials going. Their insurance company officials going after loss, their purpose is different, underwriting things and all other things. They don't do any assessment or anything. They will just see what kind of loss is there and all. Then for the insurance purpose and PML assessment. Basically, the PML assessment is for reinsurance purpose only. Sometimes only PML is asked. Sometimes reinsurance for a large project, if facultative reinsurance is required, the inspection is required, but each reinsurance company has their own formats. So they will send that you have to give this information as per our format. PML assessment inspection, so many times it is required when the reinsurance is to be done on PML basis. And that PML basis reinsurance depends on the company's financial strength. A company like New India or United India or ICICI or Lombard, their retention levels are high. So their PML assessment will be different. Whereas smaller new companies, their retention limits will be low. So they may have to go for higher reinsurance. In that case, they will require the PML assessment. And this project monitoring inspections, they are basically for advance loss of profit policy. So the main purpose is to identify delays, bifurcate the delays because of insured peril and because of uninsured things. So that is the main purpose for project monitoring risk inspections. Pre-acceptance risk inspection, what could be the situation? Some I have mentioned, there can be others also. The first is insurance after commencement of work, which example I already give, CR policy in Maharashtra particularly, contractors delay the taking of insurance. So same thing can happen for erection policies. Number of times people have seen some insured coming for erection all this policy before start of testing. Till that time, they never thought of taking insurance. Only when testing was to be started, they approached for ER policy. Then second is marine transit insurances with other insurer. This inspection earlier used to be done, but now I do not know whether I have not come across this thing. But some insurance companies may be doing. This is to identify whether there were transit losses or not. Because transit losses, if it is there, it will go to marine insurance thing. And normally in projects, the consignments which reach to the site, they are not opened next day. They are stored just like that, maybe. And then at the time of erection only, they will open the packing and all this. In that time, they will find notice. So there will be a dispute whether this loss is because of transit peril or it has occurred during storage period. So for that, to avoid those disputes, this inspection may be done by the insurance only. And for assessment of risk exposures and hazards. So some projects, this type of inspection may be done. Then insurance for commencement of work, 2 examples photographs I am showing you. One is commercial complex proposed risk inspection. Second is a second hand vulcanizing press line. Just photographs, case studies, we'll discuss more about this thing. So at this stage, the insurer contractor approach for insurance. So this is one photograph. On this side of the road, these people standing this side of the road is a national highway. And this side, all these already buildings are there. There is only here the gap of one road. Some 4-meter road is there. Now the TP risk is very much there. And this construction is going on. The basement excavation work contract was with different contractor. They are going to do only civil structure. Even plumbing, electrical, everything is a different contractor. So that itself will be another issue for underwriter of those plumbing, electrical work if those contractor take insurance. This is only structure work he is going to do, this contractor. So one photograph, another, just to show what kind of safety measures the workers are supposed to take. Such inspections you will find at the project site. If they are not showing this thing, there are no smoking signs also should be there, and like that, so many safety measures things should be there. So that is one of the aspects we have to see during inspection. Now this is second-hand vulcanizing press inspection. So this vulcanizing press, now it is functioning. This is the largest vulcanizing press in India. They can have 15.5 meters of one length of conveyor belt. This company is manufacturing conveyor belts. So 15.5 meters is almost 50 feet long conveyor belt. They are vulcanizing at one time. And 2 types of things will be there. One is fabric embedded and other is metal embedded. So this present first phase, they were to have the fabric embedded conveyor belts, and that is 50 feet at one time vulcanizing. So this is one. This full length is there from this end to this end to further also it is there. So this is a back side photo. This was a front side photo. The other was a front side photo. So basement, from the basement it is going to erect that press and all this. Now some material was stored in open. Somewhere tarpaulin is there, some tarpaulin is not there. So if it is a monsoon season, you have to see whether such things are supposed to get damaged because of flood and inundation, depending on the precipitation in that area. Then midterm inspection. So as I showed in the that earlier slide, so for long period policy periods, maybe 6 months or so, to know the work progress as per bar chart and whatever the risk involved. If there are delays, what could be the additional risk involved? And risk monitoring in case of advanced loss of profit policy. But this of inspection, normally the insurance company says it is should be quarterly. And risk improvement. If more losses reported for same peril or different perils, or risk is in high hazard location, or say STFI or very remote area, maybe risk improvement measures, some inspection may be requested. And after a loss, insurance company have their own criteria for their people, but as a surveyor, if it is there going to be any admissible loss, any loss intimated, they have to appoint a surveyor. So they appoint a surveyor, and then surveyor is what we are doing as a project policies, that is after loss. Then reinsurance and PML. This inspection, maybe insurance company officials will do or surveyors will do for acceptance of risk by reinsurers. So these reports will go to the reinsurer. They will, if they are not happy, they will ask for some clarification and all these things. And PML, if it is not proper, they may ask that your PML is not correct and all this thing. But normally, what I had seen is PML, whatever PML we are assessing, the major reinsurers, Swiss Re and Munich Re, they have their own indication. For India, this is the minimum PML. Whether you are working is giving less PML, still they will say that PML for your risk is this much. In olden days, it used to be 20%. And now if you go to for GIC, TT reinsurance, they are considering 33 1/3% as a PML for any risk. So even if I go and assess a PML of 15% for project policy, for reinsurance purpose, GIC will say no, it is 33 1/3%. But still, insurance company want to know how much loss they can expect from such a project in case of any major eventuality. Then sometime the reinsurer engineers also visit for a very large project. They also visit for before acceptance, midterm also, or after major loss also. They also come for inspection. Now, basic purpose of this risk inspection is to know exposures related to subject matter, hazards involved in construction, erection activities, or other methods used for construction, and even insured. From the insured side, what could be the hazards? And the points which I'm going to say that they are not hard and fast rule, but over a period of time, these are the information we ask. Some of those points may be irrelevant for some projects. It is not necessary that all those points will be relevant for a particular project. Wherever it is relevant, we have to see those things. And basically, why this risk inspection thing is involved, because when we underwrite anything, insurance company, they take only proposal form. Earlier, they used to take proposal form. Now, when it is a placed through broker may not be giving proposal form. So they give what they call it as a request for insurance, RFQ, request for quotation. And the proposal form, which used to be there, it was having bare minimum information. And this RFQ is having not even 50% of that information which used to be in the proposal form. So insurance companies having very bare minimum information. So many times they ask inspection for if the project is like hazardous or something like that, they will ask, or the other reason, pre-acceptance inspection, those reasons. But for any risk inspection, these are the thing subject matter, whatever you are insuring under the project. Are there any hazard? What kind of losses could be there in that thing? Then hazards involved because of the construction methodology, erection methodology, the CPM used in construction erection, all those hazards. Then from the insured point, it's moral hazard basically. We can't comment on that, but from the practices followed, whether he is following standard practices or he is avoiding so many standard engineering practices during construction erection and all these things, you will come to know during inspection. Maybe if you are going for the first time when hardly anything has started, may not be able. But if you go for midterm inspection or when there is a delay in taking insurance after 6 months, if you go, some work is already there and whatever work is going on, you will come to know. Even housekeeping will tell you the insurance methodology or management thinking, and there can be losses because of not having proper housekeeping. Loss will be there, or if loss is there, it will be increasing substantially. So these are the things, but basic thing. Then all the points, if you see, they are related to one of the things, whatever I will be telling you now. So that is about the this thing. So generally, losses under project policies these are all perils which we know. You must have also done a lot of survey on all these things. The fire, lightning, explosion, flood, inundation, windstorm of any kind. Now, there is a basic difference between here the windstorm in project policy and storm damage STFI perils, storm tempest perils in fire policy. Fire policy, the word used is direct impact, whereas here it is not there. Here, further one small words are used, 2-3 words are there. Atmospheric disturbances of any kind. So there is no question of wind speed and all these things for project policies. If there is a localized small storm and it is damaging the property under erection, yes, those losses also can be covered. And theft, burglary, faults in erections, lack of skill, lack of experience, malicious act of terrorism, this peril is an add-on cover. So if insurers opted, then those losses also. Electrical faults, like short circuit, arcing, excessive voltage or current. This need not be during testing. You are using electrical work for welding and all. So many things you are using electrical equipments. So there also short circuit arcing can cause damage to the stocks or some machinery which is erected. Then excessive pressure or vacuum tearing apart of due to centrifugal force, collapse, entry of foreign object, handling at site, various handling risks because of use of different conducted plant machineries and all these things, earthquake, tsunami, testing risk. This is not covered in standard CR policy, but if you go to CR policy, the tariff, it says that projects where the civil work value is more than 50%, CR policy has to be given. So more than 60%, 50% means it can be 70%. So balance 30% is what? It can be plant and machinery. So for that plant and machinery, the insured has to inform the insurance company before taking the policy, and the insurance company agrees to cover the testing risk by payment of additional premium. So if that is there, additional machinery and testing risk is covered for those things, and testing may be there in CR policy also. That is why I'm using word not in standard CR policy, but it can be there in CR policy. Then risk inspection. So what we have to see is location related risk. So some of the location related risk can be flood, inundation, or storm. If it is very near to coastal area, storm tempesting. If it is in the earthquake zone 1 or 2, earthquake risk. So location related risk. If it is a very congested area, like metro work and all these things, maybe third party claims will be more. If it is a road construction, if it is a again flood prone area, then the flood risk will road kilometers length of road can be washed away. Then human related, that is errors they are doing. And handling risk, material handling, large material handling is there at the project site. So during handling, what kind of things they are doing? So whether they are following proper procedures of maintenance of CPM or other, those people are trained in operating those machine instructions to them and all those things, handling risk. And plant project related. So a thermal power plant may have different type of losses compared to chemical plant or fertilizer plant. So plant related risk. So whatever is a steel plant, there can be different risk in that. So plant and project related risk and natural hazards, that is AOG perils risk. So these are some guidelines which could be followed by some company. Each company may have their own thing. Just for understanding, I have said midterm inspections. This could be the guidelines. Risk with sum insured above 500 crore to be inspected during currency of policy and just before commencement of this thing. So may be done by their insurance company engineers, may be asked to surveyors. So if we are asked, we have to go and inspect the risk and give the report based on the whatever is the position there. And proposals received either after arrival of first consignment at the site or commencement of construction should be inspected before acceptance of risk. This is their pre-acceptance survey. Most of the insurance company follow this thing. And second-hand machinery, it should be accepted only with the chartered engineer's report. Now this chartered engineer report, if the machinery, second-hand machinery is purchased in India, so the chartered engineer's report they will require. So those of you who are chartered engineers, you can have this option also for inspection. So basically in this report, the insurance company wants three things: remaining useful life, value of the whatever is the purchase cost, whether it is reasonable or not, and value of similar machinery if purchased new. These three things are basic things. Then the machinery should be inspected in working condition. and condition of machinery. So these are the things which is required in this report. Those of you who are chartered engineers, you can do. Then other thing, value, because value will be as per the valuation concept. As chartered engineer, you must be doing valuation thing. So that's value, you'll have to give that value, whether it reasonableness. Another aspect comes into this thing is whether there is any going to be any refurbishment of those things. That is because the instructions for the acceptance of this thing is the sum insured should be only purchase cost. Now purchase cost is say 10 crore, one machine is purchased, and then he is going to do refurbishment, and that cost is around 2 crore. So he will give 12 crore as sum insured, and if you insist that only 10 crore can be insured, it is not correct. So if it is refurbishment is there, so refurbishment, what kind of refurbishment is there, and what will be the, what is the cost of that? Those things also should be there in this report. Then proposal for expansion, modernization projects for existing plant. So expansion project, because it will be in the same premises, connecting this thing with the second hand vulcanizing line photographs which I showed. There are already 3 lines, and this is the 4th line they were installing. So the risk from the neighboring machines to this machine, or from this machine to neighboring machines, existing machines. Those are the, whether there are any interconnections of these things. All these aspects should be coming in this report. Then petrochemical, fertilizer, power plants, equipment, so they may be inspected during currency of policy period. Then risk with gap in payment of installment premium and policy extensions. As you are aware that the erection all this policy, CR policy, if the policy period is more than 12 months, the insurance companies offer installment, premium payment in installment. Otherwise, as per 64 WB, 100% premium is supposed to be collected before the commencement of policy. That is applicable for policies which are 12 months. The insurance rules give this provision that the installment facility can be given. There are 2 exception, means they are given example. One is this project policy, second is hull insurance, or some other insurances are there. So there the installment facility can be granted by the. Now the problem comes is the installment is due on a particular date, insurance doesn't pay, insured doesn't pay the installment premium, and there is a gap in insurance, substantial gap, 1 or 2 days gap, they may not ask for inspection, but there is a 6-month gap. Then that 6 month, some erection construction activity must have been done by the insured. So those activity, they are out of policy. So any loss during that period, they cannot be covered in the policy. So insurance companies say that this, you go and inspect and see what work has been done during this period, and are there any losses during this period. So beside other information, this is the basic purpose in that case. Even policy has expired, there is a provision to extend a policy. So he doesn't come for the extension of the policy timely. He comes after 3 months or 4 months. So that time, and again same issue comes into picture. So their additional problem is there. Whether testing had commenced or not commenced, that aspect has to be seen in the inspection. So there also, any loss during those periods, any construction erection activity during that period, whatever is there, this has impact on the maintenance cover also. So maintenance cover, what it says, during erection period, any defects were there, loss has occurred during erection period, but the cause of loss is during erection period, but loss is noticed during maintenance period. Now if there is a gap in installment payment premium during that period, some erection activity is done, that there was a cause of losses during that period, but the loss is noticed during maintenance period. So whether that claim during maintenance period will be paid or not, that is the issue, because that is why this inspection during this period they are asking. Only problem in this is the policy wording, what they give for installment premium. There is an endorsement to be passed. Whether that endorsement states anything for that during gap period, there is no policy is not valid. That has to be seen. If it is not mentioning, then maybe insurance company has to pay the loss during maintenance. But in New India's policy, we used to attach what endorsement. So many things were used to be mentioned. One thing was during gap period, policy is not valid. That was the one thing. Second thing was mentioned was if there is any major loss during currency of policy, and suppose total premium payable was say 20 lakhs, and one major loss is there of 30 lakhs, then suppose till that time the insurer had paid only 2 installment, that is 5 lakhs. So if 30 lakh loss is there, then balance premium has to be paid immediately by the insured. That is, and there are some other conditions also, but those things are there or not. I do not know other companies whether they are attaching these endorsements or not. But that is most very important if you are going to do inspections for gap in insurance, this installment premium or extension, policy extension. And policies, proposals for refurbishment, upgradation or extension of projects of existing civil works. Now this is the so many road projects. This insurance is given. So existing 2-lane highway is there, then it is being made 4-lane highway, and then existing road, it is only upgradation. Standard required for a road, state highway to national highway, the constructions, and then balance extension on one line on both sides will be as per the new work. Now the problem comes is whether they have included the existing road value into the proposal or not. If they have not included, then in case of loss to the existing road, whether the damage to existing road, only new work done, yes, no problem. But existing thing which is not redone, whether loss to that thing will be payable or not. Because when there is a flash flood, even the which was done earlier, road work which was done earlier also will get washed away. For the new thing, yes, you are going to pay fully. But the existing road, whether you are going to, so whether that cost is involved or not. How do you know these things, whether where this work is only done for the part of the road or full work? So then during inspection you have to ask him. So what refurbishment he is going to do and which places. This information is available with them. Because I have done some inspections there, this information I got it, I mentioned in my report specifically, so that insurance company is clear. Sometimes they insure that value also, then there is no issue, but still it should be clear what is the refurbishment being done, what is the upgradation thing done, what kind of work is there, that contract price is specifying what work is being going to be done where. So that is contract copy, you don't take all these things, but scope of work, yes, that is more important. Then CR proposal for all wet risks. That is because the losses are more, even wet risk endorsements and all this thing is there, but this is possible. And wherever tunnel construction is there, inspection, whether all companies are doing or not, I do not know. I did one in tunnel construction inspection. Small, it was a small tunnel, but still I did that pre-acceptance inspection because the project was delayed. He took a proposal, came to our insurance company after 10 or 12 months. And CR proposals received just before onset of monsoon, and wet risk proposal just before onset of monsoon. So these are the things which are more important. Then documents to be requested prior to inspection. If possible, you get this thing, you can study and prepare your inspection points based on this. This is general layout. If it is a factory, it is general layout. Means commercial building or factory building, general layout. It will show the different blocks which are going to be constructed and all this thing. If it is a cross-country project, then route plan. Then bar chart. This is the most important thing which is required, bar chart. So in relation to bar chart, you have to mention what is the work completed till that date. Original bar chart is saying that this particular work should have been done 10% till the date of inspection, and actually it is 5%. So all these aspects you have to mention. Bar chart. In the part 2, I will explain you about bar chart. But there are 3 types of bar chart prepared for any project. The insurance company, when the proposal is there, sometimes they get only level 1 bar chart, which shows only major portions of the project and their start time and end time. Level 2 shows the bifurcation of from that, what are the sections. Suppose the building is there, then construction will be like excavation, then piling and like that. Then pillars, floors, RCC floors, roof and all these things, wall work. These will be the phases mentioned when the start date for these things, end date for each of the activity. And then the level 3 program is for, suppose you are doing excavation. So daily how much excavation will be done? That is the level 3 bar chart. So those all 3 bar charts should be taken by insurance company, but they are only submitting level 1 bar chart. Insurance company is happy because their basic purpose is there. But if it is a ALOP policy, all 3 bar charts should be taken at the first time of inspection, so that risk monitoring survey you can correlate with the original bar chart all activities. Then proposal policy copy. If there is a policy is not issued, then proposal. What is the proposal? So you will come to know what are the add-on covers there in relation to that, whatever inspection points you have to see, you can see those things during inspection. If policy copy is there, policy copy. It will tell you what are the risks they are covering, add-on covers and all these things. Then firefighting facilities at site, there is a endorsement in the project policies. That compliance is necessary for fire claim. Otherwise, the excess is higher. So most of the time, these firefighting facilities are not there in the project site, even though that endorsement is attached, and nobody is bothered about that. If it is an expansion project, existing fire facility, fire engine may be there, but otherwise, new project it is not there. Second aspect comes to this is a cross-country projects. The firefighting facilities, how they can provide. Suppose 100-kilometer road construction is there. It is impractical to provide firefighting facility, or pipeline construction, 200-kilometer pipeline that is coming under erection policy where the endorsement is attached. So you can't have. So they can only have at the storage places wherever they are having storage. So that aspect, but as a outside person going for inspection, I will mention that these firefighting facilities are not available for this project. So depending on project, there can be some additional documents. This depends on project to project, different things can be there. So this is the points for inspection. So these first points are just general thing: date of inspection, name of inspecting person, name of insured officials contacted. So here contacted, you first go to finance person in charge, and further technical. So you have to give all names, but the most of important is the person who is giving you information. His name should be mentioned there. Tomorrow it should not happen that we have never told you this thing. So all those names should be mentioned in the policy with their designation and contact numbers and all those things. And purpose of visit, whether it's a pre-acceptance, midterm, an inspection for delayed extension polyphrate, delayed payment of installment premium. Then insured detail like site address, telephone numbers, name and of person present during inspection, his designation and all these things. Any certification like ISO, if they are having, then that will mean that they are following certain procedures. When ISO or other certification is there, then that means some minimum standard is maintained by them. Then nearest railway station from site, approach road to the site if it is in remote area. So this is important from marine point of view. Then details of plant and machinery to be erected. So major machinery and all these things, or blockwise machinery, depends on project to project. Name of the project as a whole, overall project name, whether insured is having insuring entire project or part of the project. If part of the project, which section from the project. Then whether is the extension, expansion of existing facility, refurbishment of existing plant at same location or brought from other location. Like I told you that second-hand machinery, it was imported machinery, that vulcanizing plant, but they have done refurbishment to suit their requirement here. So same thing. In case of old plant, any refurbishment done, risk exposures from and to nearby plants. So this location, to know the location risk from this plant, are there any hazard to nearby plants or from the nearby plants to this plant? So two major things can be fire and explosion. The third one which can be is STFI. The natural water flow is blocked and you don't have proper water drains, then there can be flood loss also. If it is a greenfield project, too much interior, then so many other aspects come into picture, how the material is going to come, and theft and burglary risk and all those things. Whether compound wall constructed before your visit or before start of work, because theft and burglary losses are covered in this policy. Second thing is compound wall is there, at least some reduction in flood or inundation loss can be there. If part project insured, if it is only part of the main project, how the testing is going to be done? Whether the part of the project will be included in the integrated testing, or it is an independent testing for each machine. Because if it is individual testing for machine, it will be going out of the policy. But it is integrated testing, then it is there can be so many issues. Work is completed. Either previous work is not completed or subsequent work is not completed, so integrated testing cannot be done. Now this project, what inspection we are doing, that project is completed, but is idle as it is for say 6 months. There are so many issues involved in that. Some losses, theft, burglary losses will be there because it remains unattended. So that aspect we have to see, it is the integrated testing or independent testing. And detailed status of project erection in case of midterm inspection or gap in insurance cases. Progress in relation to the original bar chart to be given in detail for each block section or each machine, whatever in the bar chart, whatever is there, each activity will have to give the completion detail and any losses or anything from that. Details of contractors working at site with their scope of work, their experience, and subcontractors again same experience and this thing, and whether they are part of the insurance policy or not, whether they are taken separate policy, they are part of this insurance policy or same thing. And storage arrangement at site, open storages, fencing for open storages, spacing or grouping of storage areas. This is required because firefighting facilities endorsement specifies certain norms for this. So these details will have to take layout, because there is actual storage will be there. So we have to see that what kind of storage things they are going to do. And highest value of one storage area. If storage areas are bifurcated, what is the highest value of one single area? Because that is again in firefighting facility endorsement, this is required. And what are the firefighting facilities? Most of the time you will find only portable extinguishers, but as per the norms, that firefighting facility endorsement, lot of things are required to be there. Then access control system for storage area. Whether anybody can come and take whatever he wants, or there is any system for that. Entry, exit system, issue of the material, recording of that, and housekeeping in storage area. That plays very important because huge fire losses have been paid by insurance company in storage area. So housekeeping, how is the housekeeping is there in the storage area? Whether they are removing grass or not. Haphazard storage is there, or it is a planned waste storage is there. In closed storage area, that is warehouses, if it is there, construction of the warehouse, access control system, inventory control system, security arrangements, spacing of storage areas, highest value in one storage area. So for both open storages also and closed storages also, these details will have to be noted down. Then storage arrangements for electronic items. The most important, because so many electronic items, if they are not stored properly, when they are put erected and testing start, those equipments are found to be damaged. So storage arrangement for electronic items. Then material receipt procedure, how the material received, whether it is entered same day or after 1 week. Then what is the system for them to know whether their material received is not damaged in transit? What system they are following? Storing of packing material. So after packing material is removed, where they are storing? And erection waste, lot of erection waste will be there, where they are storing that. And disposal of this packing material and erection waste. How disposal is going to be done? Because this, if it is stored in the same area as project material, these are the what you can say is a fire hazard if you take it that way. And construction erection staff, number of employees, company means employed by principal or contract basis. If it is a contractor has taken policy, is a regular employee for contractor or he has taking daily contract basis. And their experiences. Those erection main people, not individual worker, but senior people. Name and educational qualification of engineer in charge and his experience. Type of erection contract. So there are different types of contracts. So whether it is a turnkey contract, whether it is a build, operate, transfer contract, that is BOT contract, build, operate, own, transfer. What kind of contract? There are so many other types of contracts. What type of contract is there? Because in turnkey contracts, you may not get a BOQ values. It is a total overall contract. You may not get the BOQ values in case of claims. System of maintaining logbooks. Frequency of data entry. Backup of data system. So whatever at the site you are entering data, what kind of backup system is there? Whether simultaneously data is going to their corporate office and maintained there, or it is going after maybe 24 hours gap or whatever, 1 week. So that is the frequency of backup. Then project monitoring system. Now, if they are not maintaining logbooks properly, then there can be certain issues in case of claims. So we have to see what is the gap period between that. And project monitoring system, most of the major companies, they have some project monitoring software and they are entering there daily. So that system automatically updates your bar chart. So that is why we are concerned with the original bar chart. If it is a LOP inspection, this project monitoring system, they will give you project delays because of what reason. But then they should give those data to you. Original bar chart should be given to you. And project monitoring system and updating data in it with reference to bar chart, whether there is any time lag, whether they are doing daily or they are doing weekly, that again makes a difference because there is a loss and last data entry was 1 week back, 5 days back. On 5 days, what work was done, it is not there. They will give you this was our work completion, and so there can be issues. So what, as an inspecting engineer, we should get this detail. Their system, whatever system is there, we should report. If it is any flaws in that, we can tell them that this can be improved. Protection or erection, protection of erected section of plant till taken for testing. So if it is integrated testing, so many things are getting erected, mechanical testing is done, they are waiting for testing. So what protection they are going to have? There was one power plant policy which was given. The huge pipelines are there. So many valves were found to be stolen. It's not there on the pipeline. When they went for checking before testing as a precaution, they have to see everything is okay or not. So if that means they were not protected, there was no security moving around that area for long period. So protection of erected section of plant till taken for testing. So they must have some protocol for that. What is that? Whether they are maintaining any record of that. So if you are going initially, maybe may not be there, but if you are going a later phase of project, midterm inspection, yes, this details can be available. And construction machinery used in general and any special construction machinery equipment, they are going to use it. So that those itself will have some hazards involved. So we can get those details. And security arrangement, whether in-house or external. So again, how many security guards are there? How many checkpoints are there? How many security officers are there? And security post location along the circumference storage areas and project site. So all these details will help us in knowing the proper security at that time. Burglary claims and theft claims are very much there. Whether there are any safety thing, burglar alarm system, control of access to the premises and to the storage areas, equipments, and no smoking sign, other safety banners display. One of the photograph I showed you in that building. So no smoking sign. If it is a large project area, they should display this no smoking sign at so many places, whether they are having or not. Other safety banners display. So like that one banner I showed you, how many places such banner is mentioned. Portable fire extinguishers, locations, display, and hot and cold work permit system. This is very important in project site. Hot work permit, it is the welding, gas cutting and all this thing. Cold work related to air conditioning system or air handling HU units. Then communication facilities are available at site. So what are these today? This problem may not be there in much area, but in remote area maybe connectivity issues are there. Otherwise, most of the spaces this will be available. But we have to ask that and give display of telephone numbers of police, nearest fire brigade, and main officials of the insured at the site, different site and the office, and on the site at various places, so that in case of any issue in that area, they can contact the person directly. And firefighting facilities at site or nearby. So site, as I told you, very rarely I have found firefighting means the hydrant system or any other system than portable extinguishers. Except for the existing plant is there, they may have some hydrant system and all that. But otherwise, nearby anything is there. Suppose the project is in the industrial area. So nearby some company may be having fire tenders and all that. So what is the nearest thing? Public or any private? So if firefighting system is there, then its details, its adequacy, training to employees for firefighting. So here adequacy, earlier we used to go to TSC manual for fire hydrant system or any different manuals were available as per that adequacy. But now what I find the firefighter hydrant system, the norms are different. They don't follow TSC manual. Even TSC manual is no updating for last 20 years. But that was a good guide for the thing. Depending on light hazard risk or high hazard risk or medium hazard risk, the requirements were there. So we can follow that thing if it is required. Otherwise, we have to give only the details. What firefighting hydrant system or any other system is available there. So nearest firefighting facility, its distance, whether there are any railway crossing, traffic conditions from fire brigade till site. The purpose of this is to know how fast the fire engine can reach the site. If there is a railway crossing and at the time of fire, there is a railway is going to go, so that crossing is closed for 5 minutes. So 5 minutes is too long time for fire to spread. So fire can spread to any level. So protection against STFI group of perils, open storages which are there, which can be damaged because of these STFI perils, and equipments in open, details of power supply at site. What power supply is available at the site, whether from the state electricity board or the DG site or like that. Because what is the power requirement of the site? That should be known, because the risk, some risk can be there from that area also. Past losses for AOG perils at the location need not be during their period earlier, because this location is there for this thing. So past losses, whether there is any hazard of flood, storm or earthquake damages in that area. Maintenance of loss records and system for analyzing the loss during their project period. Topography of the site, how the site is there, whether there is a flat site or some side it is a higher level, some side it is a lower level compared to the surrounding. This site is there, surrounding area, what is the position of that site? So this will give you idea about the flood inundation risk. or even in case of fire, if it is a wind direction is fire location is there, other side your normal storage is there. So if that fire side to the storage area wind is moving in that direction, the fire can spread to the storage area. So, and geological conditions and drainage system at site. So flood water drains or normal drains, whether they are provided before the in advance. If it is not there, then again this issue of flood loss can. And whether the project site they have blocked any natural flow, because if natural water flow has been blocked by them, this will happen nearby hilly area if it is project is there. And if it is a flash heavy rainfall, then the water, even if compound wall is constructed, the water flow force can break the compound wall and water can enter. So if it is they have blocked it, how they have diverted the water so that it should not come to the site. Only compound wall may not be sufficient. So whether what precaution they have taken. Even there is a one warranty in the policy, safety measures. It says this thing only. They have to take care of last 10 years rainfall precipitation in that area. So in designing the plant. Then marine insurance details. If it is a marine commemoration policy, no issue. Marine insurance with other company, then suppose if it is into imported equipment, normally the CIF insurance is available only up to the port of discharge. So from port of discharge to site, whether insured is taking this thing or not, because again the losses of marine and erection comes into picture. There may be 50-50 clause in the policy, but then 50-50 clause in only in erection policy is of no use. Marine insurance, they don't have the 50-50 clause. So then they will pressurize to give 100% loss in erection policy. Then remarks of inspecting official. So after getting all these details, you have to give recommendation. One recommendation is regarding acceptance of the proposal, and second is, are you suggesting certain precautionary measures or certain endorsements which should be applied to the project. It depends on the project to project and the situation, actual situation there. And observations on maintaining the construction erection parameters, recommendations or acceptance of insurance. Then any special condition warranty is suggested. So proposal form is there, but insured has not requested for some add-on cover, which can be recommended. So we can give recommendation that this add-on cover may be taken by insured. It is not necessary that only restriction of the things should be there. You can very well recommend risk improvement measure. So insured will benefit if that add-on cover is taken. You can recommend whether insured will take or not is a different issue. And loss minimization suggestion. Any prototype machines out of the project material, whether there are any prototype machines. Because prototype machines, the insurance company may not grant testing cover. And equipments below ground level, if there is any investment and some equipments are going to be constructed in that area. Any selection against insurer. Now this is a very important point to be understood. What is a selection against insurer? Although the policy says that contract has to be insured, but in that contract, the insured may take insurance only for the loss-prone sections of the contract. Like one case I had seen, that he was awarded construction of road for about say 50 kilometers. In that, 2 major bridges were there on the river. So instead of insuring that 50-kilometer road, he insured only bridges. So this is selection against insurer. His contract is whatever scope of contract, he is supposed to take at least bare minimum that much. Add-on things depends, like if it is a refurbishment, as I told you, but basically he is supposed to take. He cannot have selection against insurer. In erection policy also, he may take only If it is an entire power plant contract, he will say, no, I want only boiler and TG to be covered under erection policy. But his contract is for entire power plant erection. So that is called selection against insurer. So that should not be allowed. If anything is like that, scope of work in the contract and what he has proposed in the proposal form or with policy issued in the policy, they should be identical. It should not be, there should not be any difference in that. If there is a reduction, then that is selection against insurer. And brief details of working of plant and machinery being erected, small note on that thing if it is required, is not necessarily everywhere, but major equipments, it can be there. Risk hazard specific to the type of plant, machinery or erection, construction machinery or erection construction methods. So after knowing their methods, we feel that some certain things can be loss prone. We can very well suggest those things. Then standstill projects for more than 3 months due to non-availability of material, power or other reason. So this is very common. In one CR proposal pre-acceptance inspection I did, the project started sometime in 2008 or 9. And this proposal was given to me for inspection because they approached in 2015 or 16, early 16. And when I went there for inspection, I found that this is the third contractor who is coming there. And earlier 2 contractors were there, but they did some work and then that project was stalled. Now also it was after the gap of almost 2 years, third contractor was appointed and he was constructed balance work. So this is the issue. We have to see whether why it was not available. Here the reason was something different. So that was the problem. Then I mentioned whatever work was there, and then for such thing, I recommended don't give extended maintenance cover for the work which is already completed. Because 2009 some work is already completed, and now the policy is there for two years from 2016. Why I should give maintenance cover for that? And like that, some other suggestions, recommendations I did in that. Then construction bureau ground level for upgradation work, refurbishment work, scope of exact work that I already informed you. Some insured only for contract or including existing work. Same thing for the road construction, which I told you earlier. If CR policy, any machinery involved in scope of work, if so, risk of testing covered in the policy or not. If it is not there, we can suggest this machinery is very much there. That, and then if you want, you can, because the policy will say this so and so commercial building or whatever project name is there. But they will never say including machinery because insured is not aware. He says this is my contract, I am going to do it. Then he may not, every time they may not give contract copy. They will give only the, in the contract, whatever scope of work is given, that is, doesn't give entire thing. So then during inspection, we find it. So in one of the inspection, it was almost 20% work was machinery and major machinery. So I suggested this is not taken. If insured wants to take, you can give machinery specified in the scope of work and testing risk. Since testing has not started, erection also has not started of machinery, we can give testing risk. So thanks. I think I have gone a little fast, but considering time, this was all. So Mr. Sachin.
Yes, sir. Is the presentation is completed, sir?
Pardon?
The presentation is completed. Shall we take question and answer?
Yeah, question answer, whatever.
There is a question from Mr. Vijay Kumar Agarwal. Sir, there is a gap in insurance due to COVID-19. What about the inspection of consignment equipment received and lying but could not be opened for check at the time of risk inspection? Reason, it should be open only at the time of installation as per OEM.
Basically, as I told you, the consignments are open at the time of construction only, erection only. So that problem,
Correct.
whether COVID is there or not there, it is very much there. When the consignment came to the site, they should have got it inspected to know the transit losses. So whether the COVID was there or not there, most of the time the consignments are opened only when the erection is to start. So they should have, when the consignment had come, they should have opened the packages and seen whether there are any damages. They can again pack and store it properly, but that is not done in so many projects.
Okay.
So this issue
Great.
is very common in other projects also. Then well, whether it is a transit loss, then you say that it is a transit loss. If it is a storage loss, it is a storage loss. Question is that
Right.
lot of misunderstanding on the cessation of work issue is there. Cessation of work, whether that cessation has caused the loss, then only that exclusion can be used. The loss is because of something else, then you can't say. Suppose that because of COVID, the factory was closed and there was a flood. How you can say that this loss is not payable? It is very much payable flood loss.
Right. So we have Mr. Mrunal Datta. We want to ask some question. Mr. Mrunal Datta.
Pardon?
Mr. Mrunal Datta. He has raised the hand. Then whoever has raised the hand, be ready. I'm just unmuting them to ask the question. Mr. Bijay Kumar Agarwal, I think he has we have answered his question.
Hello.
Mr. Sanjay Varsne. Mr. Sanjay Varsne.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, Mr. Sanjay Varsne. Okay, Mr. Gurpreet Singh. Mr. Rajesh Gupta.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Gurpreet Singh. You are audible.
Sir,
You can ask the question.
yes, I'm thankful to ISLA senior all executive regarding yesterday's
क्या है? गुरप्रीत सिंह, आपका आवाज नहीं आ रहा है बराबर.
Sachin bhai,
Yes.
this is Sanjay Varsne. It is better
Yes,
to
yes.
read the question in the written in the question answer segment. And I have written my question. You can just ask the question from the faculty member. There's no problem. So I have written my question and given my suggestion also.
So you have the question that share the presentation synopsis with the members. Okay. So that is
And one more-
that.
Sir, a
One
question
more-
is
one-
if certain
one more-
adverse remark regarding the risk is mentioned, then insurer approached the surveyor. How to tackle such situation as a business is important for the development officers of insurance company. Please clarify how to tackle such situations.
Hello. Hello.
Sir. Hello.
What is the question?
Sir, his question is, if certain adverse remark regarding risk is mentioned, then insurer approaches to the surveyor. How to tackle such situation as business is important for the development officer of the insurance company.
I am not able to get his question, sir.
Sir, there is a adverse remark in our risk inspection.
Yes.
But the development officer is trying to force surveyor to not to write this adverse remark. So how to tackle this situation?
Then this is not the problem only. See, if you have, tomorrow something goes wrong, who is going to be held responsible? You are going to be held responsible. Now you want to ignore that thing, then you should not have written in the report. But tomorrow, suppose there is some problem, because that is valid for the loss. They will say, why you have not mentioned this thing? So adverse remark in what respect? Because see what happens, we are not the person who is going to, suppose I give some recommendation in my report, they may be adverse from the point of insured. But whether insurance company has accepted it, they have put any policy condition. If they have put any policy condition, that means they have agreed to my recommendations. If they have not put any policy condition. So where is the question of adverse remark, changing the adverse remarks? And adverse remark is made. If it is a
No, suppose I had been, excuse me, sir.
I would stick to my report then.
No,
If
no,
it is not
suppose
a
I
fact,
had,
so
no,
that is the issue.
I was allotted an inspection of a road, and at that site there was a matlab risk of flood, है ना? I mentioned that clearly that there is a risk of flood. So later on, the development officers and the insurance officials from the regional office, they told that there is you should you just clarify that is acceptable or not. The risk is acceptable or not.
So if they expect us to give proper report, then the flood risk is there in that area.
Ah.
Suppose I am giving you an example then. Now, I don't know whether you are aware of Bihar area. So in Bihar,
Ah.
it
Ah.
is all plain area,
I-
all plain
I'm
area,
doing
and
this- I'm
every
doing-
month there is a heavy flood and roads get washed away. Now, whether
Yes,
you
yes.
mention it or not mention it, that is risk is very much there, which insurance company officer also should know. But
Exactly,
suppose
you are right. We are trying. We mentioned each and everything, but we
No.
get all these things. That's why I wonder how to tackle that situation.
no, how to tackle means if that is a fact. This is a fact.
Hmm.
So suppose you have mentioned and you give amendment report, then that will be against
But at
you.
the end, at the end, the business is important for a insurance company, I suppose.
Yeah, but then see, basically, suppose you say that there is no flood risk. Can you say that? You
There
can't
is
say.
a flood risk. I had mentioned.
That flood risk is very much there in that area. If it is a flood prone area, how you can say that it is not there? So it is, see, question is how much you are going to be there, the facts, stating the facts. If flood risk is very much there, you have to mention, because that is what they expect us. What are the risks and hazards in that location? There is a location risk.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir. There is one more question, that how you decide on the fee part.
Decide on?
How do you
Pardon?
decide on the fees part? How much to be charged?
This part. No, that is each company has their own scales. So
Okay.
that cannot be, because it is nothing, even survey fees, it is there, but there is no fees for this part. That depends on the insurance company. But what I have found now, because of heavy discounts, the insurance company says that insured should pay the fees. So many times insured is paying fees. Now the problem comes
Right.
is negotiation. That is the only thing. But depending on work involved, we can say that this is my minimum fees bill, and depending on work, we can decide per day fees or like that. That per day includes inspection, actual inspection, and preparation of report. Not that only actual inspection. That is from starting from your house and returning from the inspection, plus how much time you will require for the preparation of report. Based on that, you can decide the fees.
So what would be our suggestion on compulsory deductibles to the insurer?
No, compulsory deduction tariff, whatever is there, that is the minimum. You can't remove that. But higher excess can be recommended. Like I recommend so many times in electronic equipment policy. This sonography machines or 2D echo machines where probes are involved. I always recommend you put either depreciation scale for this, or put add-on means additional excess for cost of probe, because probe you can't repair. It's most of the things the companies, they say we can't repair it. Then if you have to replace the probe, the cost is very high. This is one example. Like that, so many other parts will be there in the machine. But presently there is no separate depreciation endorsement for probe. And probe, if you go, they will say it is not a limited life part. But in all AMCs, for such machines, the AMC exclude probe. Why they are excluding probe? Because they are treating it as a consumable part.
Excuse me, sir. Probe is a limited life part.
Yeah, but they dispute. But limited life part means, suppose you say it is a 5-year life, they will say no, it is not 5 year, it is a 10-year life.
Right.
So manufacturer
So I
will
think,
give.
hello,
Yes.
hello.
Hello.
Your voice is getting.
Oh, just example I gave you. I always suggest additional excess or depreciation for such item. Hello. Hello.
Hello,
Yes. Next question.
Sachin sir. I'm Rajesh Gupta sir. Milind sir, thank you for the nice presentation. Sir, my first question is related to fees only because so many parameters you have told in the format to prepare the report. Sir, it takes time. It takes time to do the inspection, prepare the report. But as you were underwriter also at one time, and now you are surveyor,
Yeah.
sir, I find here when we give the report and ask for the fee, a good amount of a fees, they say that यार हम रीजनल ऑफिस से तो सर्वेयर से तो ऐसे ही काम करवा लेते हैं. This is a remark. Sir, please,
No.
I'm not there to offend anybody, but the thing is that when we do so much of a lot of work for such a formatted report, and in the end we don't get a fee, so we get disheartened for that. And another
No.
to add on these things, sir, can you provide us the sample report format and a questionnaire?
These are the points here. There is the question is these are the points on which we have to see. All points may not be related to each project, but whatever is relevant, those points you can take because you can't have standard format. There may be so many additional points for some project. These are the basic things which you have to have. But a very large project, the reinsurers have their own. CICRI has their own format, different format. Minicry has different format. So they give that time. Suppose they appoint, ask insurance company, they say you give in this format. So that is there. Oh, but these are the most of the points you will have. You will find it.
Lecture was in a
inspection.
fast mode. Lecture was in a fast mode. So the points, if a sample report omitting everything, you can, if there is any sampling formatting like 1, 2, 3, 4 points like that, if you can
These are
forward
the
and
points. These are the points. Whatever points I have mentioned, these are the format. Only thing, if you want, it has to be. This is a PowerPoint presentation, so I have mentioned like this. So these are the points. In part 2, I will be taking 2 case studies, the small thing, but all points you will not find in that report. But then those are the things. Whatever is relevant, I have thought I have mentioned in the report.
sir, your comments about the fee also, sir.
Hey, fees, I told you. I tell them this is my fees, so in advance, and who is going to pay the fees? Then only I will accept the job. Otherwise, I will not accept the job. If insured is paying the fees, I will go and inspect. I will say that this is my bill. You pay this thing, and then only I will issue report.
Sir, I'll add on this. Sir, if I say that, sir, I want this fees, and I'll add the sir, वहाँ से remark आता है यार आप तो तुम बहुत बड़े surveyor बन गए हो. Sir, because I am belonging to Jammu.
That depends on
that
depends on the underwriter. When I was underwriter, we used to pay sanction the fees. We had issued instruction. This is the guideline for you to pay the fees, and you did not come for sanction to RO. And whenever we used to do ask inspection to be done by engineers, we used to tell the DO, this is the thing, you negotiate. Suppose this fees depends again. That was a basic broad guidelines were given. Depends. Sometime it used to be some less, sometime it used to be more. But this is all points may not be there for every project. But this is for large project, then fees has to be negotiated. It can be. Now I did one inspection for one company. A power plant. They wanted PML and normal report. I charged them 50,000 rupees. They paid me. So it depends. They negotiated first. Then, so it is not that people, the insurance companies are not paying. They are paying. So that is depends on, see, if you are from north, I don't know, I never worked in north. I always worked in west. So here I have not found in, earlier I used to work in Pune, we had no problem. Mumbai, I had no problem. Baroda, I had no problem. I did one inspection from Baroda also now after retirement. So I got my fees immediately. That is not the issue. That depends on the work involved. When the proposal comes to me, I tell them based on this thing, and this will be my fees. So there also that was paid by, fees was paid by the insured, not by the New India Assurance. So most of the time nowadays, they say that because they are giving 99% discount, so insurance company don't want to incur additional expenses. They say that insured will pay. They tell insured that you have to pay because you have come delayed. So most of the time insured is paying the fees, not the insurance company. So you can decide because there cannot be any guideline for that fees. So each company has their own things, but you can very well negotiate. Now the way you are telling that since you are getting a lot of survey, so you do free. That cannot be free. If you are to go and inspect, you are wasting your 2 days or 3 days in that thing, then the fees should be paid like that.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So thank you very much, Milind sir, for your wonderful session and insight about the risk inspection. Thank you all the participants. Tomorrow we are meeting at 11 o'clock. Thank you very much. Thank you all the participants. Thank you all the panelists and Milind sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all.